Today's postcard is from a town with a tale of two piers, the West Pier and the Palace Pier. The postcard is franked Brighton in Sussex. Well, it's a really, well, not quite so bright day in Brighton. In fact, it should be called Dalton. But there is the West Pier. And over the years, it's become more and more derelict. And it's known as the Queen of Piers. And it needs to be. Look at that heaving sea. Well, we're heading towards the West Pier. But I feel as though I'm heading towards the ends of the earth here, Rachel. Now we're coming towards, what would this have used to have been?
This is the concert hall, and it was, it had various incarnations, but it was, obviously, as the name suggests, a place for music.
And pigeons, I just saw one
placard. Yes, lots
past.
of pigeons, yeah.
Oh, goodness. Oh, I don't like pigeons! I hate pigeons!
Oh,
and I'm full of like Alfred Hitchcock,
oh dear,
the birds.
Oh dear, poor you.
Well, we made it to the concert hall and I'm surrounded by pigeons all watching me. I tell you, like the birds. Just like the birds. They're waiting to swoop in on me and Rachel. What was this place in the concert hall? It's literally what it said.
Yes.
They had concerts.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And it had, in its final stages in the 1960s, it was a venue for old-time musical, actually. So that was the last usage of it. But no, it was originally built as a concert hall.
Why did it fall into rack and ruin?
It was gradual neglect after the war. English seaside resorts having to compete with cheap packages after the war, so you know, that gained in popularity. And the company that owned the pier really didn't invest real money, decent enough money to keep it going, and didn't have good enough new ideas, really, in my opinion. And so over the decades, it gradually declined and declined until by the early 70s it had become a dangerous structure and had to be closed. Very, very sad.
So we're on here now, a dangerous structure, hence we're wearing life jackets and hats, and not the sort of garb you'd wear for a nice day out.
Not really, no, not really, but not for much longer with any luck. You know, the restoration should be beginning soon. So.
Well, let's walk along here, because there's another building up there. Whether we actually get to it, Rachel,
Oh,
I don't know. We'll see how we go. But how have you now managed to restore it?
Well, so far we've had £1 million, or just short of £1 million from the National Lottery, which has meant that we have been able to perform some, what we describe as emergency works, to hold it up, to make sure more damage didn't occur. But we are expecting to get up to another 14 million from the lottery, because we've also found commercial partners who will be putting in about £10 million, and that should totally restore the pier, and we think that should be happening very soon now.
And you know what day it's going to open?
Well, we're aiming at the millennium. We're aiming at the millennium. Maybe not the 1st of January, but sometime during that year.
Well, we wish you well. Are you ready to brave the elements and go? You are? You are very brave people. I'm proud of you. Off we go, Rachel. Blimmin' heck, Rachel. Oh, this is incredible, all of this. I'm about to say, I'm just so amazed, having actually appeared in a lot of summer shows myself,
yes.
to see something like this, yes. I do find actually breathtaking.
Yeah.
The balcony would have obviously gone down there, and the stage would have been there.
Yeah, that's right.
And they'd have seen that.
Yeah.
Now, why does a very nice girl like you want to get involved with doing something like this? What is the fascination?
Well, look, there's two particular reasons for me. One is this is a very, very important bit of English heritage. You know, it's a very important building, I think, and probably, and this is an opinion, but probably the most important bit of seaside architecture there is in the country. And to see it just decline and fall into the sea is terrible. That's one thing. The other thing is that Brighton needs the West Pier. It's been so sad to see this sort of rotting symbol of dereliction off the coast of Brighton, which is that Brighton's a wonderful town, and it'll do so much for the confidence of the town, and also, of course, for the economy of the town. I mean, it's already a popular place, but once the West Pier is restored, I mean, that's going to generate so much more interest in tourism, and it's just very, very exciting.
Palace Pier next, but food first, and where else to go in Brighton but the lanes? Well, in this weather, it's time for a very hot spaghetti bolognese. and I'm going to meet Martin Cirque, head of Brighton and Hove Tourism, whose job it is to bring in the visitors. But who made it fashionable? Was it King George IV?
No, well, George actually came because it was already fashionable. It was a guy called Dr. Richard Russell who invented a seawater cure, which he, of course, being a very clever marketeer, insisted that you could only take this seawater cure in Brighton. And he would have these very big burly women who would grab the clients who stayed in his hotel, because, of course, it was desirable to stay en suite. And they would drag these people down to the seafront at about 2 in the morning and dunk them in the water when it was at its coldest, and then force them to drink hot, boiling hot seawater by the pint, mixed with various ingredients, which I really ought to remember, but it included cream of tartar, prepared viper flesh, squashed up wood lice, and various other fine delicacies. Now, I understand that George tried it once and then decided that the rest of Brighton was very fine, but the seawater cure could go and look after itself.
Well, after that great big pile of spag bog, I think it's time for a little constitutional. Oh, this is lovely now. The sun's coming out. Oh, there we are. Fresh, delicious whelks, cockles, mussels and prawns. That's real pier food. Now, is this the one by Graham Greene? This is certainly where, of course, that novel was set. And the Indian palmist. Closed due to unforeseen circumstances. The old one for the best. Shall I?
Have I gone into the wrong hole? Let me in the other hole.
You make me do some stupid things. And this really is what the Palace Pier is all about. It's a palace of fun. Well, that's it. Auf Wiedersehen. Cheerio. Farewell. Sayonara. Hivasti. Adieu.